Simplifiers is the podcast that cuts through the complexity of digital transformation to reveal what works. Created by Solteq, hosted by Amel Gaily, and built for anyone who believes clarity beats complexity every time. In this episode, we're diving deep into where digital growth truly begins. Amel Gaily is joined by Juha Vuohelainen and Antti Tuppurainen from Solteq, along with Markus Sinisalo from Yliopiston Apteekki.
Let's get into it. Where growth really starts. That's what I want to start with. So Juha, when a client asks you for growth, where do you begin?
Yeah, first of all, if it's a new customer for me, so I'm asking for, they want to grow their business. And first of all, you have to understand, where it lays at this point of time. So we need to get the understanding, of their customers, what is their results nowadays, and what are their goals, have been, and how they have been successful in that. But of course, for that, we need understanding also about their customers. What are their needs, and what is the data which we can use in order to make analysis and suggestions for future things. So basically we need a lot of different kind of material there, but also the data which we can rely on is very, very important. And for example, data from customer service if there have been complaints and things like that. So it's not only that the top management decides that okay, we want to grow. We need to understand first where is the present situation.
Well, why is that? Why is it so critical to understand where the current business lays?
Yeah, we need to have like standing point, and then what are the steps in order to grow. I must say at the beginning first that there is no silver bullet. You just cannot have like one single thing that you just start doing. There are so many things, and from little things it grows, and that's the way how we want to proceed.
What do you think, Antti? Is it a common mistake that you see that companies do not really actually know where they are before they start planning where they want to go?
Some companies might want to cut the corners and go with the solutions without like right analysis for the data, and usually many projects are there that we are just combining the data first to make the projects, and that is the first the data. We have the data, but we need to collect and decide at what data we want to have in the project. So yeah, that's the first place that we don't want to cut the corners.
Exactly.
Yeah, and for a lot of customers, we typically will work with a lot of engineers, and of course marketing people and people like that. But especially in Finland, a lot of customers, they want to have like a technical solution, so which will solve everything. Exactly. But that's not how it works. We need to think about the business, what is the concept. What is the customer need and things like that, and these are typically, I would say, in Finland they are not so well thought about, but also in some in other Nordic countries as well. But moreover, we go towards, for example, to the UK, the more the people will think about the marketing things and about their customers and things like that.
That's very interesting. So there are geographical differences.
Yeah, there definitely.
Starts to looking into growth.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
We can see that, for example, in Sweden, there is a lot of venture capital money available. Of course, there is some also in Finland, but not in that amounts. Definitely, there is a big difference, and that's why a lot of smaller companies, they can really launch their products more easily. For example, in Sweden, because of the resources they have.
Yeah, exactly. Well, growth also takes up quite a bit of energy. So what are your thoughts on kind of balancing between the operational energy, which is of course needed to keep the business going, but also in development?
So if all your energy goes into the everyday business, and for example, if they have like a B2C e-commerce site, they might have like like every second week they might have a campaign. And if all the energy goes into like just operating the business and keeping the e-commerce up and running and just having those campaigns, so there might be no room or energy for growth or development. I mean, really developing the business further. So that's something I think a lot of companies are actually forgetting this. They just want to keep it very, very slim, very tight, and just reduce all the costs. Of course, that is important. I don't say that.
Yeah.
But if the top management wants growth, it is an investment, and they need to resource for that.
Yeah.
Actually, there have been like big fundamental change in last few years that those like e-com platforms and those services what we have been building, they have been developer driven, and businesses has been now requesting more like control for themselves, and this have changed the mindset from developer first to business first. And this also means that every change doesn't need to take a ticket to IT or a development team, but they can do the things themselves, make the campaigns and publish content. And this is also a reminder for us that we should think this, that what for these systems are built for. If there is like 27 campaigns in a row in a year, we should allow the content to be such easy managed that they don't need to hold back the growth because of the development team, that they can just make the change, do the rules, have the automation running, maybe hook some systems into it. And that is something also current new headless API driven systems allow, that you can hook different automation systems into it and do things without the developers. And there's also a big change set at the moment that developers don't want to allow access to business. They want to keep it with themselves. And this is maybe also big change in the mind, that we should provide tools for them to allow to do their work without the need of every developer and every deployment processes and such. Yeah.
That's very, very interesting, kind of shifting from tools first to a content first strategy. But Antti, you've been known to be describing that content is the real growth lever. I've heard you say that. So why do you think it is often so overlooked?
Few examples from my career, that one big telecom company was providing, like, they have their whole organization navigation menu and those links what they have in the header part of the shop and customer face portals, and so they were managed in CMS systems as a one JSON object, which was like 10,000 rows. And it is something that, it does the work, but it's not user friendly. It's not such that anybody can go there and make changes to just some navigation tooltip link. And this is something that's content that should be easy to manage. You can make changes, do experiments, does it work or does it not? And there should be systems allowing to do that without the IT or developers involved in the change.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would like to add there as well. So I maybe earlier, for a few years back, the content management systems were, I mean, a bit in a lower status if you think about the e-commerce. But nowadays, I would say that the CMS systems and the content, it is becoming more to the front line, and that is the the top line which the business need to concentrate more, because people like to see the more information about how to use the products and lifestyle kind of thinking and comparison kind of things, and also the story itself. So that is very, very important. So and that's very difficult to create if you don't have easy to manage editorial systems there. So that is very important.
Yeah, it's blurring at the moment that what is e-com and what is content. They are now coming together, and also those we have had a long monolith CMSs are bad and we want to go to headless systems, and at the moment there's now movement that is coming back. We want more editorial experience, we want to build experiences, and content is such that is now coming again in the middle.
Interesting. We talked about some geographical differences when it comes to kind of growth. Juha, do you see geographical differences when it comes to content? Are companies in other countries perhaps more aware of content first, or is that something overall which should be more emphasized?
Well, if you think about the geographical differences, so if you think about a country like Denmark, for example, it is more mature. I mean, in content-wise and also e-commerce-wise than, for example, Finland. But there you can already see that there are a lot of e-commerce sites that have gone bankrupt as well, because there are too many those who have started with too little resources. For example, if we look at the latest statistics from Denmark, it was 13% of all e-commerce sites that sold apparel and clothes, they went bankrupt. So 13%. So that's quite a lot of those. But of course, there are always new that are starting. So I mean, but anyways, that was because it's the most competitive area, the clothing area. So it is, and basically it is quite easy to set up or start up a new clothing shop. So. But also in content-wise, there are definitely differences. But it's also like what is the cultural thing. So some people are more outspoken and they develop their stories much easier, and also there are definitely differences. But more we go towards the UK, the more stories and more content we typically see in the e-commerce sites as well.
So moving on to our next section of this episode, and we're going to have a deep dive into a real live case. Joining me is Markus Sinisalo from Yliopiston Apteekki. Welcome, Markus.
Thank you. Very nice to be here.
If we look at healthcare retail, like Yliopiston Apteekki, from your point of view, Markus, where does digital create the most incremental growth today? Is it acquisition, conversion, or loyalty? What would you say?
I would say that at the moment, what we are actually experiencing is that the most important thing in our sector is that we can offer convenience, and we can also offer personal help or personalized products and services to our clients. And by that, I mean that because we are competing in the pharmacy sector, but also we're competing in the basic well-being market. So our competitors can be anything from my previous employer Tokmanni to Lyko or any kind of Kicks or that sort of competitors we see as a competitor for us, not only the other pharmacies. So if we can actually offer convenience and trustful online business to our customers, and also we can offer them personalized approach, I think then we have something as a competitive edge what we can then use And there are a couple of points which are really important for us that we can offer when we're talking about online, that we can actually offer very quick deliveries, because that is something what we actually discovered when I started here in the very beginning, that why aren't we actually selling more, let's say prescription drugs or any kind of medicines to our online store. The main issue is that the deliveries were too slow. So when you need medicine, you usually want to get it right away. So now we have been improving our logistics and offering. So you can order our products by Volt in 1 hour to your door. Quite long answer.
No, it's a great answer, and I think there's a lot of the principles that you named are really kind of applicable across many industries. I think the way that you approach competitors is one, and see them very broadly. I think that's applicable to all industries. But then these kind of convenience and personalization are customers are getting more and more demanding, and the way they need to be timely and tailor made in a way. Tailored to is really coming more critical. Are there some common misconceptions about digital growth that you find and would like to correct?
I'm not sure could we call it misconception, but I see that there, especially in the Finnish market, there's a challenge which is that maybe has got something to do with the whole economical situation where we are now in, is that all the players seems to be or they try to attract new customers by campaigning, or lowering prices, and that sort of, if we go to that road, the ending is not the best one for the customers or even the companies, because I think there are much more value we can offer as a company, more than only the discounts, that how big discounts can we offer. So that is something that I can see, especially in the digital market or in the world. It's actually getting more aggressive all the time.
Yeah. I think we can all relate to that, and I think once the only kind of guiding principle is discounts or money, it becomes a slippery slope. But without going into any of your kind of confidential tactics, what kind of guiding principles can you share with us that help you drive digital growth? Because what is very interesting in your case are these kind of elements of trust and safety, which are extremely important when we talk about a pharmacy brand.
Well, basically, I think for us at Yliopiston Apteekki, one huge opportunity is that the official number, that how many Finnish people know that you can actually order prescription drugs to online is 30%. So I see it as that it's quite low, and if we can increase that number by any kind of trial that you would even once use it, and then you see that, wow, okay, this is really convenient, I'm going to use this channel in the future also. I see that is one of our guidelines, that we can actually own the market for prescription drugs. And of course, if for example, you, Amel, you would visit us as a prescription drug buyer, we would offer you also cosmetics, different kind of brands, different kind of products that you can then, you will be then introduced that, hey, okay, these guys, they also have these products and these, that maybe I'm not going to be visiting only when I'm sick or I need medicine, that I can actually use this online store for different kind of reasons, for my well-being or cosmetics or anything like that. So yeah, that is one guideline that we are now really working on, that we would get more customers to the prescription drugs or drugs.
Yeah. Is there a key stage where businesses usually stumble, but is that it, that they jump the gun in a way?
I would say so, but also, I mean, there are a lot of little things you need to think about, because, for example, nowadays it's very trendy, and I think it's the most expansionist area is the second-hand market.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of problems with the second-hand market, especially the return rate is very, very high. As a rule of thumb, I would say that if the return rate is more than, let's say, 10 to 15%, you really need to address that, because that might be an issue. But I know that, for example, just looking at my friends and people like that, they might go for a second-hand clothing shop, and they are ordering like 10 items, and then they are returning 9 of them and just keeping one of that. So it's like 90% return rate, and that is really, really high. And that is also one of the reasons some of those second-hand shops, they have gone bankrupt, because you need to really address that and how to handle the expenses related to returning items.
If we look at the next 12 to 24 months, and with the kind of huge consumer shifts and also shifts in technology which are going on, what kind of foundational capabilities do you think any retailer should have to capture on the momentum going forward?
I think one point is the same one as I mentioned before about the discounts.
Yeah.
That if you go to that path, the growth isn't that organic or even necessarily stable.
Yeah.
Competitors, they can easily copy that. So that is one thing that I think you should have something more solid or something more deeper, that actually why the customers are visiting your store So, but what comes to AI or that sort of technologies, I understand that our business is a bit different, and we need to, and whenever we sell any kind of prescription drugs or any kind of medicine, we need to have a pharmacist online who then gives you the chat service. At the moment, we have about 80 persons in that unit. So you can go to our online store and get the pharmacist help to any kind of problems with or questions with your medicines, and they will help you as a live person. You will get the personal help from them. So if we can utilize the AI for this, that the pharmacist can actually concentrate in the very important reasons why you are contacting us, and not spending time in different softwares or like what I'm trying to say is that these kind of tools can help us to serve our customers better and more relative, or spend their time in the important questions. So I think that in that sense, we have a huge opportunity when we are now renewing our customer service system and using more AI in the future. But still, we have the actual person there doing the important phase of the customer journey. And then what I see in the coming year or two is that if the economy would go in the better direction what it has been now doing, the customer value will probably shift from the always campaigning to different kind of competitive advantages. Is it the logistics? Is it the customer service? Or is it the trustworthy partner that you can rely on? Whether it's the checkout or whether it's the your own information, what you're giving us. Especially as a pharmacy, we need to be really careful with all the data we have. So I think there are lots of different kind of opportunities, but the main opportunities are in the or at least I see are in the quality and the trustworthy and really actually increasing the customer value different paths than only discounts.
You need to have the resources and the energy to grow, and one step at a time.
Exactly.
Also, like, here's a good example where the content could be like driving. You could have one system that is responsible for all the content, for the marketing email messages or for the product, not maybe the product description that is coming from PIM, but all the other other things for the product detail pages and landing pages. They should come from one system, and articles supporting marketing materials and this. It could be like content first driven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, both of you have actually mentioned customer journey already once, and I want to talk more about that. And when we think of customer journey, we have to think of omnichannel in kind of in this context. So what does a modern omnichannel experience actually require?
Really good question.
Yeah, it is a really good question, and that is something more and more businesses are looking after the result for that. But definitely we would need, well, if we talk about technical terms, typically we would need a CDP, customer data platform, for that collects information both from the e-com side and from the POS side, so from the stores. So and combining this information, but of course there are, I mean, some difficulties there, how to recognize different persons, and because we have the GDPR and things like that, so it is not that easy task. But it is important to understand, so from the both sides, both from the e-com side, both from the store side, to understand. It was a good example Antti gave, for example, in the northern Finland. It might be a different kind of need than in the southern part of Finland. So to understand that kind of issues. So continuing from there, and the CDP might be the system that is providing the information for different tools. So the customer journey would be like fluent, and customer has an understanding what different messages are found there in different stages. So that is really, really important. And also there is a possibility to like a push forward the customer towards purchasing the product or finding the information the customer is looking after, using also AI tools there.
When it comes to kind of the omnichannel experience, if we look at the trend of how companies are doing it at the moment versus a couple years ago, do you see that the trend is getting better, or is it actually getting more complex?
Good question. I would say that the competition is getting higher and higher, and in that way it is getting more complex also to find the market share there, because the competition is getting higher in a lot of areas. And that's also there's also an area, because the competition is getting higher and the AI tools are coming. It also means that the marketing is also getting more complex. And the marketing costs are getting higher, and the cost of getting a customer, that is also some of the KPIs you need to follow, so that it's not too high to get one customer in order to make a profitable business in that sense. So in that sense it is getting more difficult, definitely.
Yeah, there's different like behavior for us, that if we have a store nearby here in southern Finland and big cities, you could get the stuff from the store by Wolt, and it will be under 1 hour arriving to your home. But in the countryside, you might check the store that where can I find this nearby, and then you drive there, and you don't even order it from the e-com. You are just checking the catalog that where is it existing, and then where I will drive and buy it from there. There's completely different behavior of this.
Exactly, that's a really good example, which I have to come back to personalization, even though we've talked about it already. Why is it so misunderstood? It's so fundamental.
Yeah, personalization is something that there's a lot of discussion going on, and there are so many different levels on the personalization. So just everybody knows the situation when you enter a shop and you see there are some recommendations for you. Okay, these are the things others like you who have watched these products are bought and things like that. That is the most simplest way of doing the personalization. But the personalization can go, really, really further up. It can, look at your purchasing history. It can look at what you are searching now and give you good examples from the search side, but also, as Antti said, also from the emails you are getting. You are getting the personalized recommendations there. But on the other hand, it can also go too far, the personalization, because you cannot predict everything. You might need totally different kind of different information the personalization tool is giving you, and that might be also an issue. So you need to think about which product needs to be personalized and which product doesn't need personalization, and it's actually getting customers more perplexed. They don't understand what they are searching for, or they cannot find it, even it is there, but they cannot find it because of the personalization tools.
Yeah, there might be some that you are living in your personalization bubble.
That's right.
And the recommendation systems, they are just narrowing the whole catalog for you, and you cannot find it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, before we have to start wrapping up, I want to talk about tactical wins and growth levers that actually work, because that's, I'm sure, what many of our listeners are thinking about as well. So based on both of your experiences, what are some of the highest impact growth moves that teams can make still this year?
I would say that the first steps, if you start growth thinkings, is that starting it from from the design and conversion rate optimization. These are the most easiest way of finding the path for the better growth. So those can be, I would say, maybe even like 50% growth in some areas. So looking at, with design, I mean looking at your overall design, of course, but also the customer journey design. So designing that, and then of course looking at the customer, the conversion rate optimization, which means to get the conversion rate higher in different businesses. That might mean that there are making better landing pages, making better product pictures, product data information, how to use those products better. Different kind of videos on there. Systems like that, they can make a big difference there. Definitely, that is a good starting point. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to go to like what these different new kind of systems allow, and that we could hook different kind of marketing automation tools with APIs and MCPs to the systems, and allow to do complete new content based on this thing what you are having in the e-commerce systems. You have good product data, you have customer data, you have landing pages there, but based on these you might create content to the social media channels, and allowing to use and consume this data what you already have in external systems, and like make.com or N8N, this kind of tools, and check that where these low-code, no-code tools allow you to go.
I think it's always interesting to hear real life examples, and it's always, many of them are so relatable. It's easy for a listener to kind of relate to them. So any final real life examples? You've shared many already during this podcast, but any other that you'd like to share?
If you think about what is the present situation now, is one of the things is accessibility and understanding the data also behind that. So that is something that a lot of different e-commerce sites need to think about, because the accessibility also is one way of getting new customers in. It has been said that almost like 15% of the population would need like accessible sites, and if you are looking for like new prospects and new customers who would like to who would buy your products, that's one of the areas where you can really shine in that area. So getting like 15% for like new customers, that would be a good place to start.
Really good. What about you, Antti?
Yeah, maybe also doing some kind of a checking that what is your stack at the moment. Have a kind of audit that does it support growth. And that is something I have been doing lately, and seeing that there's a potential issues what could be resolved by maybe changing some tools or.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing really good examples and for this interesting discussion.
Thank you.
Clear that growing digital business is more than just choosing the right platform or setting up the right pixels. It's about content, data, and making sure your digital operations are truly aligned with what your customer needs and how they buy them. This has been Simplifiers, brought to you by Solteq. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it, rate it, and subscribe.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about Solteq and how they help simplify digital transformation, visit their website, www.solteq.com.